What's going on, beautiful people? I hope you guys are doing excellent today. I am Carrington Brown, your relationship expert. And before we get into today's video, I want to remind you all that next weekend, next Saturday, August 20th, I will be hosting a second One with Nature walk in the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. On the One with Nature walk, we do a little walking, but more so we do some talking. I want you to imagine a group therapy session in the middle of nature, right? So the mission of the walk is to build community, bring connections, but also provide people a safe space for transparency, for support, and to get wisdom to improve and progress themselves. All right. So if you're in the DFW Metroplex, close to it, know anybody there, or just want to make that trip to the Dallas, we'd love to have you once again, August 20th. One with Nature Walk. It's going down. Hopefully I get to see you. Hopefully I get to meet you. We'd love to have you there. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into today's conversation. So one of the common, the common experiences that people are coming to me with in marriage is just being unfulfilled, right? Like people are expressing how in their marriage, like they're truly unfulfilled. And so what I want to do today, guys, is just give you 3 tips for avoiding unfulfillment in marriage. Because is it possible? 100%. But there are some things that we want to make sure that we do proactively. Like here's the word. If you desire a marriage, here's the word that you need to just adopt in your spirit, right? Proactive. You need to be proactive about everything, right? And so because proactive, the reason why is because when you're proactive, you're doing something before the need for it even comes up. And so by doing that, you already have in place the structure, the system, the plan to navigate a situation if something comes up, right? So in this conversation, once again, I want to give you guys 3 tips for avoiding unfulfillment in marriage. So here we go. Tip number 1 is this. The first thing you got to do to avoid experiencing unfulfillment in marriage is to not seek fulfillment in your marriage. I felt that in my spirit when I said that. In order to avoid experiencing unfulfillment in marriage, you have to not seek fulfillment in your marriage. Marriage's purpose is not to fulfill you. It's not to give you security. It's not to give you purpose. It's not to give you love. It's not to give you happiness. It's not to give you a family. Not to give you, that's not the purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage is holiness, right? Which means that it's going to challenge you and persecute you and crucify you and just circumcise you, right? That's all. That's what marriage is going to do. Marriage is going to open your eyes to all the challenging pieces of yourself and give you the opportunity to be refined and get all of that stuff off of you, right? And so because of that, we have to not seek fulfillment in marriage, because if we seek fulfillment in marriage, then how fulfilled we are and the experience of fulfillment in our life will be dependent upon the interaction between us and another person. And we have bad days just like they have bad days. We don't be feeling good like they don't be feeling good sometimes. Therefore, our level of joy and peace and happiness is going to be dependent upon the status of a marriage, when in actuality, it should go beyond that, right? So the first tip for not experiencing or avoiding unfulfillment in your marriage is to not find fulfillment in marriage. Tip number 2 is find fulfillment in God. And the reason why we want to find our fulfillment in God is because God is always the same, yesterday, today, forevermore. He has plans to prosper you, give you hope in the future. His love is unconditional. He walks in radical acceptance, and nothing can separate you from his love, right? Even though in marriage we want to say like our love is unconditional, because the level in which we love people at time, our spouse at time, changes. Sometimes, I love them on 10. Sometimes I love them on 2. Because that's the truth. Love is conditional, like point blank period. Like in this world, love is conditional, not because simply because, like, depending upon what's going on with the experiences, like I may love you more, they love you less in this moment. But because God's love is unconditional, meaning no matter what the situation, circumstance is, my love is going to remain steady. That's why we need to find our fulfillment in him, because he's never changing. And no matter what we do, we're never going to be separated or can be separated from that consistent, unconditional love that God extends for us, right? So tip number 2 to not experiencing unfulfillment in your marriage is to seek your fulfillment in God. Tip number 3 is this: discuss marital expectations before marriage, right? The unfulfillment is being unfulfilled in a relationship is a result of not having your desires or expectations met. But oftentimes the number one cause of unmet expectations, unexpressed expectations. So as a couple, and I do this with couples in premarital counseling, as a couple, what you want to be intentional about doing is having a conversation about marital expectations proactively, so that when you get into a marriage and finances come up or intimacy come up or kids come up or whatever come up, because you proactively had the conversation, you express your expectations in this area, your partner expressed their expectations, then you guys came together, create a compromise that served both parties and the benefit of the marriage. And so when marital expectations are proactively conversed, my bad, y'all. When marital expectations are a conversation that you have proactively, it serves you in being able to navigate that experience in marriage, because we already had the conversation before marriage. All right. So that's what I wanted to give y'all today, beautiful people. I promise you, if you apply these 3 tips, it's going to serve you and not being unfulfilled in marriage. All right. So if you haven't already, like, comment. If you know somebody that needs this, share. Be sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, follow me on all social media platforms. I'm at TheCarringtonBrown. And once again, if you're in the DFW Metroplex close or just want to come on in and kick it with your boy, One with Nature Walk, Dallas, Texas, August 20th. We'd love to have you. Peace out.